All right, let's jump right in. We're going to unpack what is honestly one of the most incredible stories in modern logistics. I mean, we're talking about the insane hypergrowth of Dubai's airports and the secret strategy that's made them a global powerhouse. So, just to give you a sense of the scale here, let's start with a number. 92.3 million. That is the insane record-breaking number of international passengers that Dubai International, you probably know it as DXB, handled in just 1 year, 2024. I mean, just try to picture that many people. It's almost impossible. And a number that big immediately brings up the central puzzle of this whole thing. It's a question that sounds like a riddle, right? How on earth do you run the world's busiest international airport at its absolute maximum capacity while at the same time you're building its even bigger replacement right next door? Okay, so before we get into how they did it, we really need to wrap our heads around the sheer size of their current operation. Because this isn't just, a big airport. It's the beating heart of global travel. I mean, look at these stats. Being number one for international passengers for 11 years straight, that doesn't happen by accident. You've got over 100 international airlines flying in and out, connecting to almost 270 different places around the globe. This isn't just about being big, it's about being incredibly complex and absolutely essential to the way the world moves. So that's the today picture, a massive success story. But now let's flip the coin and look at the other side of this balancing act, the absolutely gigantic project of building for the future. And this is where the real tension comes in. You've got two huge competing priorities. On one hand, you have DXB, which is all about keeping that record-breaking performance going right now. And on the other, you have Dubai World Central, or DWC, this $35 billion bet on the future. They had to be brilliant at the present while sinking a ton of resources into a completely different vision for tomorrow. So, how in the world did they manage to do both? Well, it wasn't just about working harder, it was about being incredibly smart. They came up with this super clear three-part strategy to tackle this problem head-on. And here it is, the core of their solution. It breaks down into three key ideas. First, portfolio thinking. Second, process optimization. And third, stakeholder governance. So let's dig into what each of those actually means. Okay, so pillar number one is all about having the right mindset. They called it portfolio thinking. And what it really means is that they refused to see DXB and DWC as one giant headache. Instead, they treated them like two totally separate projects in their portfolio, each with its own mission, its own goals, and its own way of measuring success. And here's what that looks like in the real world. For DXB, the focus was all about run today. Success meant getting more passengers through the gates and keeping those satisfaction scores high. It was all about keeping the current machine humming. But for DWC, the focus was build tomorrow. Success there was measured completely differently, hitting construction deadlines and sticking to the budget. By keeping these scorecards separate, they made sure the chaos of today didn't completely wreck the plans for tomorrow. Super smart. All right, pillar number two, process optimization. Now, this is where technology really steps in as the hero of the story. Think about it. To get 92 million people through an airport without it descending into total chaos, you have to engineer everything for peak efficiency. We're talking AI that predicts and manages crowd flow, automated gates that get you through immigration in seconds, and smart baggage systems that can handle insane volumes. It was all about squeezing every last drop of performance out of the building they already had. And that brings us to the third and final pillar, stakeholder governance. And honestly, this might be the secret sauce that a lot of people miss. See, an airport isn't just one company, it's a whole ecosystem. You've got airlines, regulators, contractors, you name it. To make it all work, they had to get every single one of those partners on the same page. And the way they did it was with something pretty radical: total transparency. They shared all the data, all the key performance indicators, so that everybody knew the score and everybody was pulling in the exact same direction. So having a great strategy on paper is one thing, right? But making it happen day to day, that's where the magic is. And to do that, to turn these big ideas into reality, they relied on a pretty smart set of tools. So what does that actually look like? Well, they used things like strategic planning templates that directly connected the performance goals at DXB today with the construction milestones for DWC tomorrow. They lived by their project dashboards and Gantt charts, which gave everyone a clear picture of how the two timelines, operations and construction, were lining up. And maybe most importantly, they were constantly using 360-degree feedback from both passengers and their own staff to find those little things they could tweak to make the experience better. Okay, so this isn't just a story about an airport. There are some huge lessons in here for pretty much any leader or any organization trying to do something big and complicated. Let's boil it down to 3 big takeaways.
The first big lesson is this simple but powerful mantra: run today, build tomorrow. I mean, it sounds simple, but it's so hard to do. The best organizations have to be masters at delivering amazing results right now, while at the same time, they're building the foundation for what's next. You just can't let one cannibalize the other.
The second lesson is all about building resilience. You see, DXB's strength wasn't just its size, it was its diversity. By connecting to so many different places with so many different airlines, they built a system that was way more stable. When one route or one region had a problem, it didn't bring the whole thing crashing down. It's a classic case of not putting all your eggs in one basket. And finally, it all comes back to getting everyone to work together. If you want to get dozens of different independent companies all moving in the same direction, there's really only one way to do it: transparency. Sharing your progress, sharing your data. That's not just some nice-to-have corporate policy. It's the only way you build the trust you need to get everyone truly on the same team. And that really brings us to the final question, the one I want to leave you with. Every single organization, every team, faces its own version of this balancing act, right? You've got to deliver today while preparing for tomorrow. So, looking at how Dubai pulled it off, what's your strategy?